So welcome everybody to this open Zoom meeting. Claire, Sylvan, Gio, good to see you. Wendy, Tony, Rosa, always beautiful to see you again. Tony, it is what it is. So, well, that's obvious. It's always just simply with it, what it is, which include also claiming it to be something else. Then it's just still what it is. But, it's the same like saying there's just this. You can say it is what it is, or there's just this. And when I say there's just this, I don't mean an object. We talked about it. This may sound at like there's a frame being made, that it's a thing. But when I say there's just this is not, I'm not saying there is an object or, this is a moment in time being freezed. When I say there's just this, I mean this, yeah, whatever you want to call it, this undivided, some may call it life or, Brahman or God or whatever, this unknowable isness or directness, which may include the claim that it is as it is or the lack of there. It's always obviously simply what it is. So, that to be said, and you can, if you want to add something to it, Tony, because, you know, this is not a thing. When I say there's just this, it's not pointing to a thing. It's I would say it's a
I
thingless
can
thing.
say I can say something about it. Yeah, I can say something
Well,
about it.
about it, it's funny, because language again, when you say
What you just said, then
yeah,
I
yeah.
can say something about what you just said, which is an it, because
Go
it's
on.
been experienced.
This is it.
So,
You see it, Wendy. This is it. Yes, of course. This is it. Include saying there's just this. Tony, go ahead.
so what I would say is that if you make the statement, "There is only this," then uh, you are acknowledging what you are perceiving right now, which could be a thought, a feeling, it could be something that you experience through the senses. If you say this, there is only this. And if 1 minute later you say again, there is only this, then the this that you're referring to 1 minute later is a different this from 1 minute before.
Well, but that's. I mean, yes, you can
So
say it's
what would be
different.
more non-dual, would be to say that there is only this appearing and disappearing in awareness. And 1 minute later, when I say it again, I would say there is only this, which is a different this to the other this, but it's appearing in the same unchanging awareness. So
Wait.
that would be more not that would be
Yes.
more non-dual.
No, but I wouldn't say it like that, Tony. Although I understand what you mean. So when I say there's
And
just
Claire will
this,
probably say it smells like non-duality.
and Tony,
I think
please
you like that, Tony.
be nice now. You
No,
know,
no, I'm just referring to a comment she made.
yeah, yeah, but you can fight it out later. So when when you say there's just this, and then 5 minutes later you say just this, I would say yes, it's completely different, but it's still just it's exactly the same at the same time. Where you seem to sketch a different type of location where the unchanging is appearing in, and the unchanging is appearing in something, or appearing in something which is not changing. So it gives the idea that there is something which is unchanging, and in that
Yes.
something is, so it's like there is something where I say there is not something in which this is appearing or not appearing. This is changing and not changing at the same time. It's not something different. So I wouldn't say that this is appearing in something as awareness or consciousness, which is always the same. This is not appearing in something else.
No,
The
that's fine.
idea,
That's what I said, because that's what I think. But I understand what you're saying, but I would make that distinction because because that's what discrimination is, to discriminate between. So if you say there is only this, what you're really pointing at is something that's unreal, that's an illusion, because what is something different later. And if it's different, it can't be real. But the awareness in which it's appearing is real, because that's not different
Tony,
from one moment to the next.
But
Yeah,
Tony,
Rosa,
may
hi.
I interrupt you, sweetheart? You were
Please.
talking the
Yes.
whole time that something is appearing in awareness, in consciousness.
Yes, that's right.
Bullshit.
as two separated
Yeah,
things.
well, okay, you
Yeah,
can
yeah,
say
yeah,
it's bullshit,
yeah,
and
yeah,
that's
totally.
okay.
No, sorry. I just wanted to, because Xander
It
started
was
in a way.
predictable, in fact.
Yeah, totally. I'm very direct. Started, in fact,
So am I.
to um to just exactly say to you, well, I'm not going to put it like you said, but I understand you.
I
In a
Yeah.
way, it's
understand.
already a misunderstanding. There is no right and no wrong. But nevertheless, there is simply, I also wouldn't say this is appearing in awareness or consciousness. For
It
this, you
doesn't
need
mean
to,
anything to you. When I say
yeah, yeah,
that,
yeah.
does it
It's
not mean
totally,
anything to you? It's
it just,
meaningless.
it's
Is it
both,
meaningless?
meaningful and meaningless at the same time. Now, giving meaning to
Oh, whoa,
this,
whoa,
I
whoa,
simply
whoa.
wouldn't,
Now you've,
I wouldn't say it like this, as you put it. There is
how would you
nothing
say
which is
it?
appearing in something, like it, as if something is containing something, like, you know.
Ah, okay.
So it's
Well,
very direct.
that's my
Yeah,
experience.
yeah,
So I
yeah,
can
yeah,
only
yeah,
speak from my experience,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and that's totally fine.
yeah.
And I mean, you know, this is not about one being right. If that is just simply how it is being expressed, so to say, that itself, you know, that so-called expression, and where you maybe would say that expression is arising in awareness, you know,
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
and
No, no,
awareness.
it's about me being right and you being wrong. No,
Well,
just kidding. I mean, no, just
see it
kidding.
any way you say, but I mean, I have no issue with whatsoever Tony is saying. You know, it's just simply not seen in that way, but it doesn't matter. You know, this is how it is.
But if you can discriminate between what is changing, what is not changing, then that has a reality
Yeah, but
to it.
listen,
It's not. I mean, I know Rosa says it's bullshit, but you know,
yeah, but
the point is that
I
you can make
agree.
that discrimination. You
Yeah,
know,
but
and
Tony,
so
I agree that it's changing and unchanging. The only thing where there seems to be a difference, a seeming difference, you know, because there is no difference, it's still just
I'll tell you
this.
why it's true.
But
I'll tell you why it's true.
no,
No,
but
I'll tell you
wait,
why
where
what I
I
said
see,
is true. I'll tell you why I said what I said is true, because it's possible to experience the unchanging without the changing. That's how I know it's true.
so about the changing and the unchanging, you know, there's an agreement. But where here it's, you know, where here it seems not to be something else, as two separate so-called dimension in which one or the other is appearing and disappearing. This is changing and unchanging at the same time. So, and of course you can
Well,
say, yeah, but
I think, yeah. I think when you use the word separate there, you have to be careful, because if I talk about changing and unchanging, it sounds like I'm looking at them as separate
yeah, so that's
things,
what I
whatever.
want to know
Right.
now. The direct question is, Tony, this unchanging, this so-called container, or this so-called what is always stable and that which seems to be changing, are there two different separated events or not?
Well, what
Are
my
they completely separated?
yeah, well, what my guru used to say, Mahesh Yogi, what he used to say was that there is
I
unity
don't
in
care what he is
diversity.
saying.
No, no,
I'm
because
asking
no.
you.
Well, I'm only saying it because I agree with it. I only ever quote people if I agree with them, not because they're a crutch for me, or they're supporting something I don't believe. I only ever quote anyone if it's my understanding or knowledge as well. So what I would say is what he said. There is unity in diversity and diversity in unity. So that's really what you just said, because you said, well, there's both there. They seem to be separate, but they're not really separate.
Yes, exactly.
So
I would say that so-called unchanging and changing are not two separated things.
but
As there
Claire
is
will be
no
able to tell me about that because she's an expert in meditation. So
but
she'll be able to tell me.
I appreciated you quoting me earlier, Tony. That must mean that you and I agree.
let me. You want to?
Hey Rosa, boom buddy boom. Yeah. Even if it's bullshit,
Tony,
it's boom,
Tony,
boom.
it's always amazing to listen to you. Really, it's
course
wow,
it is.
it's just mind
Of course it is.
blowing.
That's why I'm
I cannot.
admin. That's why do you think I'm admin?
I cannot. I'm not into those Facebook groups, sweetheart. Sorry, but so I don't give a shit where you are admin or not. But enjoy the show anyways. And but it's really amazing. I love actually characters who are full on going for their bullshit.
You don't get
It's
to be
very
admin for nothing. Okay, all
it's
right.
very obvious. It's very obvious that that no matter what's been said and who is saying this, it's already a misunderstanding. And it's just a joy to share. It's like verbal diarrhea. No matter if Tony is speaking, Xander, Lynchen, Rosa, whoever, it's just
The problem is that what you're saying sounds like verbal diarrhea.
okay. But if I just express like listening to you, it's like wow, beautiful how he is enjoying himself,
It's a
talking like
lovely
this.
story. No, you're
Yeah,
supposed to say it's
of
a lovely
course.
story. That's what you're supposed to
Of
say.
course. And it's beautiful how you
Stick with the
are
conditioning.
telling the stories and believing in your guru, what he said, loving it, resonating with this. And of course, but also I can see a joy like you were booming for this. It's like your highest
I'm always
excitement, so to
booming,
say.
Rosa. Always.
Yeah. And sometimes it's quite
I don't
narrow,
have ups and downs,
a little bit
the
like a
ups and downs. I
horse,
don't have those.
like a horse with you know, when the horse says klappen, I don't know how it's called.
Equanimity. Yeah.
And I
Equanimity.
love, especially this, I love when Tony goes like this. And then, of course, and then there is the point when he cracks up and starts to laugh about himself. This is maybe
What's
the
happening
most.
when you're not booming?
Uh, well, in a way, there is no booming
Ah,
and booming at the same time.
okay.
But thanks for sharing, Tony.
Thank you.
We can feel your love, Rosa.
Totally. For me, it's a game, like children playing here. No more, no
Yeah, and I'm
less.
playing it, and I'm playing it right now.
You're playing beautifully, exactly as it's meant to be. What is
Yeah,
already boom. That's it.
yeah.
Mm.
That's it.
Let me.
Come on, Gio.
Sorry, let me. I just wanted to ask Gio. Gio, is anything coming up there? What's going up there? Come on, tell us.
I sort of agree with Rosa. It's just bullshitting everywhere.
Oh God, not you as well, Gio. What am I
I
going
don't
to do
have
with you
anything to say
people?
right now.
This is here. Maybe what I wanted to share also when Xander Lynchen. So Xander Lynchen, sweetheart, I totally go with you. I totally resonate. Still, there is, and I simply can see that sometimes you are in a way telling the story of there was never a sense of a me, right? And when in a way I heard that you already told it, and when we did the chat with Alexis Knight, she in a way pointed out. He simply said, "Ah, interesting." When you were sharing, so there were never a sense of a me, and then I heard it. You know, before she said it or he said it, it was I simply overheard it. It was really nothing. You know, nothing special. Then in a way she mentioned it, and I was thinking about it quickly, very shortly, and then I simply noticed that yeah, it just claiming there was or is still a sense of a me, or there was never a sense of a me, whatever this means. So
Well,
it's really
let me
like
make it clear, sweetheart. A sense, when you say a sense of a me, not a sense that there's a separated me and something else. It's something different,
a position,
So
a position.
yeah. So there is a me here and something else there as two things which is e- exactly separated. So there's a me ending with the skin, that's me, and something completely different existing separated from it is an outside world. So the lines there's no lines in between. There's not a sense that I'm ending here and there the rest of the world. So when if you say there's blankly no sense of a me, I would say there is just me, or there's just this. Let's say
And there's a sense of that me. And there's a sense of that me. Don't be a nihilist now, Rosa. Don't be a nihilist.
Tony, sweetheart, let me please say something. I'm going to forget it otherwise. I can remember that here, in a way, it's always just me. It's never not me. And so I can say there is no separation already in just claiming there's just me. So this is playing. That's why I always, the first time I heard about this non-duality thing, I don't know, 3-4 years ago, maybe. This was the first time I heard the concept of me being separate, having a position. This was the first time I heard it. And in a way, you start simply to talk with those terms, and now it's seen that it's just like blah blah. Yeah.
So I would say, where you seem to say there's all me,
Yeah.
it gives the idea that when you say, well, me is all, this can be heard as there is a me, a personal something, me, which is everything, I mean the impersonal. So there's just this. It has already nothing to do with you or me. You can call it you can call it God, you can call it this. It's impersonal. There's just this impersonal isness. It's no one's. There's no one apart from it. But the sense that there's someone apart from it is as impersonal as the lack of that sense. Whatever is happening or not happening has already nothing to do with you as a separated doer or owner of that emotions, feelings, beliefs, ideas, conclusions, including the sense that it has to do with you. The felt ownership is already not owned by you apart from the ownership.
It's in a way directly what it is. Claiming it's happening to me. Yeah, it's directly what it is. And there is no, and in a way, we can go now like the people are talking. Yeah, okay, maybe when there is an apparent difference, like it plays out more easily when there is simply not holding on. There is no holder anymore, no doer, not a position, not a relation, me and my life. This seems to play more easily then when this is in a way seen, realized, call it what you want. And maybe there is a difference.
But it doesn't matter. Exactly. So this is always pointing out that whatever is happening, so this is not about one being wrong or other being right. The sense, the belief, the feeling, whatever you want to call it, that you are the body, or however that feels to be a body or to not be a body. It would be funny, because to feel the body, you should also know how it's not to feel the body. So how are you going to make that comparison? So there's just simply what it is. And this it's free, it's spontaneous, it's innocently, it's direct. So there may be a sensation, I am this body, or there may be a belief, I am this body, or that belief is not there, nor the sensation is there. And what is left is already the case. It's already just simply whatever it is, direct, and it has nothing to do with you. But when there seems to be this sense of personality, when it's your life, your body, your whatever, this leads to certain types of
and this is in a way, this I call therapy. When in a way there is the need There simply naturally arises the need to not to suffer. So there seems to be an inner conflict playing, like a war, because this what is not okay in a way, no matter how subtle it plays.
Oh, that is not, that is, it's not, there's no war here, but
No, I'm just talking in general. So there seems to kick in, this is in a way a lot of teachers and coaches and therapists are in a way to just help the person, the so-called person, to calm down, to get an inner peace, to be more
yeah, but that's
peaceful.
totally fine.
Yeah, exactly.
totally fine.
It displays a lot. Displays a lot, and
I think
Can I
that
ask you a question,
I
Rosa?
think
Can I
that
just ask you a
conflict.
question?
I think that
Serious
conflict
question.
arises when we try to organize. We try to organize what is,
to control.
which means, yeah,
Yeah.
we want to make a mental map,
Yeah.
a logical explanation,
Of course.
a rational understanding of what is happening, and then the conflict arises.
Yes.
Exactly.
Rosa, when I said that,
Yes.
there was this experience of the changing within the unchanging and all of that stuff, you said, "Oh, that's bullshit." So why is what you just said just now not bullshit?
I said already from in the very beginning that this is just verbal diarrhea coming out here, Tony. I'm not claiming that I'm saying something important or not. And for me, it's just like blah 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 blah.
You're not making a statement about something or giving
Tony,
an opinion about
Tony,
something if you think
Tony,
it's bullshit, right? You
Tony,
wouldn't
sweetheart,
do that.
the
Who would
only
do
thing-
that?
But it
really?
is.
Tony, the only thing I wanted to say is you started with this consciousness containing what is. And Xander interacted and simply said, I wouldn't express it like this. I get you, but I wouldn't say that there is a container containing something. This implies already things.
Well, that's very strange that Sander would say that, particularly when Sander, at other times, has talked about beingness. And then he talks about what is. So you're already doing what I've done when you talk about beingness.
No, it's very...
Well, let Sander answer that question then.
Gio, do you know what I mean? Maybe you can say... But actually, it doesn't matter. Sweetheart, doesn't matter. Forget it.
When you talk about being, you include everything, right? You are not making the separation.
Yeah, exactly.
But regarding this issue, okay, yes. Of being something that is unchanging versus
Sander isn't
the
doing
changing, that. Maybe there is a bridge that can unite the understanding of this kind of picture of
understanding.
Yeah, you see, because it is about words, right?
Yeah.
Because it makes sense to say that there is something not changing and then there is something changing. And it also makes sense to say that both are happening.
Because it can be found out through inquiry.
Tony, just a second.
Let him speak out.
All right,
sweetheart.
Go on.
For instance, when you are in deep sleep, right? It's a bit challenging to locate this unchanging stuff versus the changing one, because
exactly.
you know there is no one there. You just wake up and somebody tells you, like, yeah, you have slept deeply. You know.
Okay.
So where are both you? Where is the changing and where is the unchanging?
There is, and it can be found out through inquiry. But what I wanted to ask Sander, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, when you speak to me about beingness, you're talking about beingness.
Well, I would say there's just beingness. There's no you to be or not to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I go with this, Xander. I would say that this so-called body, being born and dying, it's just there is only beingness, no matter of
all right, well, let me
if there
give
is
that
a body
different
or not.
definition in that case.
You can say there is only
objectless.
Yes.
No. What I mean by beingness is objectless awareness. Objectless awareness.
Yeah,
objects are dependent on awareness. Awareness is not dependent on object.
I would
Objectless bubblegum.
let me put it like this. there is no actual experience of beingness outside the story claiming there to be a you. So when let's say when there's beingness, you know, there is no, that doesn't exist an actual experience.
Yes, there does.
No,
Because
wait,
you are that
yeah,
beingness.
I understand what you say, you the impersonal, but that's just that you are everything and nothing at the same time. We've been through this. So there isn't an actual experience outside language painting an experience where there is an I added to something which is called an experience.
No, but now you're creating concepts. Now you're creating
Well,
concepts.
no, but I can only, it's difficult to explain with words. I would suggest that there is never an actual experience of something outside language claiming there to be you and something else which can be experienced. Those two are already not one. Those two are already not separated, only separated in the naming of that. But
you know what? It's really quite simple. If it can be said that it's possible to discriminate between unchanging objectless awareness and changing phenomena, if it can be said, then that's what's happening.
The saying is what's happening.
Yes.
What is happening?
The saying.
Exactly.
If it can be said, it can be said, that's what's happening. The saying of it.
No, but what is being said is not the thing.
Yeah.
Remain quiet and experience it. Don't use any words. Just remain quiet and know that you can discriminate between it. You don't have to use words to understand it.
Yeah, but outside language, there is no such thing as an actual experience of anything or nothing.
Really? When you look at a tree, do you say tree?
No, but listen, there's no experience of a you looking and a tree of the two are not
course, of course. Yes,
that's
of course.
What I mean.
Of course. Yes. Well, of course. Yes.
That's what I'm saying, Tony.
There's no but we talked also about reflective thinking after the fact.
Okay, so now we're getting to something. Experience only exists in reflective thinking. During the so-called experience, there is no such thing as an experience outside the reflective thinking, painting an experience, a you and a tree, as something separate.
Yes, you can put it like that. Yes.
That's how I express it, exactly. So when there is looking at the tree, there's just looking at the tree. There's no additional layer that I'm looking at the tree. There's just looking at the tree. When in reflective thinking, it's been painted as an experience by you.
You might be thinking that's the most beautiful tree I've ever seen.
The thing that occurred to me right now, Sander, is that when we look at this sphere, this ball of light, is there not something looking at it? I mean,
well, I mean,
if we see light, the perceptions, I'm playing Tony's attorney, it really gives us the impression that there is something being aware, right?
Yes. And that,
but that's because you've said it yourself, Gio. How many times in these meetings have you talked about silence, awareness, all that sort of thing? So when I come along and I talk about changing phenomena, appearing and disappearing within that awareness, you say, no, that's not true. But that doesn't add up compared with what you've said previously.
No, I did not say. I say that both perceptions, both ways of seeing things could be bridged.
But you said it good. You said it good, Gio.
Well, they can be mixed. They can be mixed. In normal experience, they're mixed, right? So the experience of phenomena
because in this present moment,
awareness,
which is timeless, there is no past, there is no future, There is no
that's
space.
just an idea, Gio.
No, it's not an idea.
It's just a mental fabrication.
Where is past? No, Tony.
Please.
Where is past? Where is future?
Gio.
Right?
You put it nicely. You put it nicely.
I tell you what, I'm not saying that's wrong, but I'm saying that it doesn't have any credibility to it unless you've done the necessary inquiry that enables you to make the discrimination between unchanging awareness and changing phenomena. If you're saying then it's just a mental fabrication.
It can always happen that it's a mental fabrication. I can say the same for you. I mean,
kindly.
I can say that what you are saying is just a mental fabrication.
Sounds like you're talking politics.
Please,
yeah.
Please, let me, please, Tony, let me talk with Gio.
Hi, Klaus. I haven't seen you before.
Hi, everybody. Nice to see you guys. Yeah, it is not my first time here, but I was off for a certain amount of time. I apologize.
Klaus, good to see you. Please let me go to Gio before this is lost.
Go ahead.
So, Gio, you put it beautifully. There seems to be an awareness seeing the tree, right? You explain. You said
not exactly. No, Sander. What I'm saying is not just the tree. There seems to be something looking at the totality of light, of luminosity, of knowingness, right? Of perceptions.
Yes. But
sounds like duality, yeah?
No, but that
sounds like really.
It
sounds like separation.
It seems like that. You put it good. It seems like that. But that so-called, whatever you want to call it, that what seems to be looking is already not separated from the look. That's what I mean. So even although there may seems to be something which is looking, we can call that awareness or a presence or something, that itself is already not apart from that which is seen.
Exactly.
That's the only thing which I would point out to. So,
Sander, this might help. I agree with you when they're saying when you say there's no separate entity who is thinking or being aware or whatever. Yeah, this is absolutely right. But just because I can make a distinction between objectless awareness and changing phenomena, that doesn't mean that's separation.
No, but I'm not saying
that's just a thought. It may be just a thought. When you say that you can make, who is making the distinction?
Well, when I say
if you are the unchanging awareness, how can you make the distinction?
You need to get right away from that idea, that thought, that it's a thought. I'm not talking about a thought. I'm not talking about a thought that, there is this distinction between awareness. I'm not thinking that. I'm talking about the direct experience of it.
But I understand
this is non-duality, Gio. What I'm talking about is non-duality.
Tony, sweetheart, there is no escaping the storytelling. No matter what you're saying, you're just.
But I understand what
Well, no, because you're in a way emphasizing always on the truth.
Yes. That's really important.
And that's just another story. No, it's not. It's totally not.
Truth. I mean, people have been talking about truth for
I know that you love
a long time. The story, this conditioned response that's happening within this body mind, why would you want to escape it?
No,
you just want to be free. You want to be free. Why would you want to escape it?
There is no freedom, sweetheart. There is no freedom. It's what it is already.
Well, I would have to differ with you. There is absolute freedom.
It's
called
no
Jivan
freedom.
Mukta, freedom while living in the body.
Okay, sweetheart, what about this? No matter what's been said, done, taught, is totality already. No escaping the totality. No matter what you're saying.
You're talking about
no matter what you're saying. No matter what you're saying, sweetheart, that's it already.
Yeah. And all of this conversation is mostly about that. It's just about mind stuff.
Not mostly.
It's just mind stuff. It's just thoughts,
Tony, for
abstract
me,
concepts.
This conversation is for me the same as blah, 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 blah.
Oh, you can't do that now. You can't say something as
I'm
if you
doing
mean it,
this
and then I
now.
say
I'm
something,
totally
and then you say
doing
that's
this
blah,
now.
blah, blah.
It's
That's
totally
not
blah,
fair,
blah.
is it? Because
Oh.
you'll say something
No.
and you don't think it's blah, blah, blah because
Oh,
it
totally.
seems to make
It's
sense
just
to you.
blah. It's just music or sound.
I'm
Of course,
looking how
because
to raise my hands.
we imagine that we are talking to other people, which is already a story.
Yes.
The fact that we think that we are talking to someone
So
else
what?
is a story.
But
It's
Gio,
fire. Yeah.
Gio, what you try to explain to Tony, we talked just about it, you know, that so-called seer or whatever, there seems to be something which sees the trick. So that so-called distinguisher, or the one who is distinguishing or, you know, discriminating, there is no separated discriminator and something else which is discriminated.
Exactly.
So here again, this is pointing
Yes.
out that there is no separated discriminator and something else which is totally separated from that discriminator, which can be discriminated as something apart. With that so-called division or duality rises only in the reflection and in the naming of it. Outside language, there is no such thing as a seer of a tree and something else apart.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let me be clear about this, Gio. I do not have the experience of being a person who is seeing something. I have the experience of a person appearing in me.
Oh. Sorry.
This so-called person is
saying.
appearing in me and disappearing in me.
This calls
That
very.
is
Yeah,
I tell you what that is, Rosa. That
this
is the
seems
core
very
of
schizophrenic.
non-duality.
This seems
That it
very.
is appearing.
There
No,
is you
it does
appearing in
to you
yourself.
because it's a mental thought for you. That's why it appears to be schizophrenic. But for me, it isn't, you see. There is just the direct experience of phenomena appearing within me and disappearing with me. And that includes the individual personality.
Okay,
I'm
sweetheart.
not a personality who
Sweetheart, I
experiences
got you. I
anything.
got you. I got your
Tony,
story. I know what you
wait.
know. Yeah.
Now
I got
I
it.
have to ask.
See what I'm saying?
I know what Tony is meaning when he say it's appearing in me. He doesn't mean me, the personal.
No.
No, because I'm already talking
the
about the
body.
personal. There's not two personals.
No,
There's not one personal appearing in another personal.
no,
There's
but listen, it's impersonal.
appearing in awareness.
Yeah.
Impersonal, if you want to say
So
that.
there's
Sure.
not a Tony who is aware in that awareness which is personal, it's appearing. No, it's impersonal.
It's hurt as it's hurt, and
No, but
it needs no explanation
because Rosa, you know, you're aware of a thought and you're also aware of the absence of the thought. You're aware of a thought appearing and you're aware that it's gone. Therefore, what remains is the awareness, not the thought. Therefore, I can say it's appearing within me.
I'm not aware of the thought. I can report about it.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'll
So here, like I got you. I can imagine what you're trying to say. For me, it's totally off. There is zero resonance with this for no matter what reason. It's not interesting. It's just liking music and disliking music.
Well, you're discussing it, so it must be interesting to you.
So yeah, and I would simply say it's full on. It's full on, no matter what. The mouse, the hat, me, me, and at the same time, empty. Completely empty.
Yeah, what you're saying, I agree with what you're saying. You see, when a thought appears, it's just spontaneous. There's no
Everything
one
is
thinking
spontaneous.
the thought.
Everything is spontaneous.
And therefore, you're not aware of it. You can only be aware of a thought as an afterthought.
Too late. Always too late. Always too late.
I totally agree. I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
There isn't an actual you aware of thought as two separated things.
No, of course not. No, of course not.
But in the naming of it, in the language of it, there it seems to paint a you and something which is completely separated as a cup where it's you and something else which you are aware of as two separated things. But that's only in the making of it, in the language part of it. That's just simply how it seems to function.
Yeah,
you know.
that's the game.
So there is
It's
no, but that
it's
itself is already not separated as such.
it's the two sides of a coin that is not
Yes.
there. The two sides of a non-existing coin.
Yes.
The perceptions are full proof of and full evidence of the other side, which is not separate. They are happening at the same time, at the same
Yes.
place, at the same moment. And there is nothing separating. There is not a border between movement and movement.
But that's what I say.
Yeah, that's what you said. And it's also what Tony is saying. That's why I say that there must be a bridge between these two understandings. In order to posit an awareness and something that is moving in awareness, you need time. But when there is no time, you cannot separate. They are both happening at the same timeless moment.
Yes, because time exists only, when there is. So time comes into the equation, so to say, when it's named. There's a timeline being made. In the language, a timeline is created as an event which has a start and an end, and something in the middle. In the so-called event itself, there is no middle, no end. It's a fleeting, it's a time.
I cannot agree, because for any event, for anything to appear, you need.
Yeah, but there is no event. That's what I try to mean.
Yeah.
There is
Exactly.
an event. So
there is, yeah.
There is an event, and with that, only in the naming of it. There is not an actual event. The event is arising like the experience arising in the naming of it. But when there's no naming of it, there is no such thing as an event, as a separated event in time and space. Time and space exist in the naming of it, in the story, in the timeline.
Yes, but the problem with that is that in order for this mouse to appear, you already need time, right? You already need a story.
That itself but that's already a story being painted up. So at the time it's going, when the story is made, time is coming into existence. Without that story, there's no time.
Yeah, I would say that the whole field of perceptions, the whole egg of perceptions, is perceptions, time, space. They appear together.
Exactly.
Because if you take one away, the other two disappear, collapse.
Of course, because there is no such thing as time separated from space.
Right, and if we take away time, space, we land in Tony's awareness, what he calls awareness.
Yes,
but there is only awareness, nothing else.
There is only awareness. So time and space, so you exist only as a separated being in the naming of it. An event only exists in the expression of it, in the painting of it, by words, by language. Besides that, there is no such thing, or no thing.
In this particular case, Gio, you can make a distinction between awareness and consciousness in this particular instant. Because when you said that it's all awareness, you could say, well, it's all consciousness. It's as form or not as form. But the thing is, Rosa, there is one thing after that happens when you have that spontaneous thought, and it just arrives just out of the blue, right? And then you have what happens after that is you have another thought, which is dissatisfaction or suffering or pain, and that's what you've got to work on. The thought that comes after that says this is painful, this is causing me suffering, that's what you've got to address then. Or you can take this view of saying, well, the pain is just what is as well. and that is completely
But Tony,
contrary.
then it's too late.
The goal
Once
of
you have
non-duality.
accepted that things and events exist, you cannot fight the repercussions of pain, sorrow, suffering, or gladness or joy.
No, not on that level.
Because
no,
you have already accepted that events happen, right?
Or rejected it, or could reject
or
it.
rejected or accepted, which is the same. But you have maybe to have a deeper understanding that events and things does not exist by themselves.
Okay,
exactly.
Yeah, but that's therapy. That's the field of therapy.
Oh, I don't know.
Not non-duality.
Tony, what is the field of therapy?
Well, I'm sure Claire could have something to say about that, but the field of therapy is treating someone as an individual who has specific personal problems that need to be addressed.
And although that is maybe true on, and now it's going to sound strange because there are no level, but just for the language of it, all this, Tony, may be true on one level. You know, there may be individuals with problems on one level. You know, I would say that's one side of the coin. At the other side of the coin, which is simultaneously, there isn't a thing as your problems and my problems as two separated things. There's no you separated from problems having them. Only in the naming of them, you know.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter if you say that. The reality is,
I totally agree. It doesn't matter.
But the point is that, as you were saying, Rosa, the difference between therapy and non-duality, and maybe Claire will have something to say. The difference between therapy and non-duality is that therapy addresses someone as an individual who has specific and particular issues, whereas non-duality is concerned with you as being, as beingness, as essence of something prior to all of those individual problems. That's the difference between therapy and non-duality. And there's nothing. Both approaches have their uses, have their part to play.
Oh yes.
But there is, but you can say that there is a difference between the two. But you know, I come back to this other thing. You know, this thought that follows that thought, if it's pain and suffering, then you're either going to develop a stoicism, you know, a stoic attitude of saying, well, I'm just going to accept this pain. And that, again, is just another mental process. It's just more mental conditioning. You're not getting rid of the mental conditioning, are you? You're just adding some extra mental conditioning that says, if I suffer, I'm just going to accept it and say to myself, look, there's nothing I can do about it. That's just the way things are. And that's just more mental conditioning. Whereas non-duality is the process of taking all of that mental conditioning away and going back to this substratum of...
So how is, can you continue this? How is the concept of non-duality, though there is no such a thing, but how is this taking, is non-duality better than the therapy, the two things you just explained?
It doesn't. No, it doesn't have any meaning to say one is better.
So in a way, there are people resonating with
the two.
There are people simply resonating more with me as a person can become better, healthier. It can help me like the therapy, or more resonance to going into non-duality, like, okay, there is already no me, just the two sides of the coin.
What I would say, somebody who comes into non-duality and who has a very unstable personality, you know, I would say they might benefit.
Somebody who comes into non-duality doesn't make any sense.
No, the topic.
No, doesn't make any sense.
Come on, Gio, give me a break.
It's not making sense from the very beginning.
Non-duality. But
somebody who's into non-duality.
I know what you
I mean,
mean.
there is someone outside non-duality and he opens the door and then he comes into non-duality. Hello, people, here we are in non-duality.
What are they doing on Facebook groups, Gio, if they're not interested in non-duality? Really, what are they doing?
I would say, let me put
anyway,
it
what
like
I'm saying, Rosa, is those people could benefit from therapy. People who are unstable.
Tony, look, this plays so freely, you won't believe it. Those
Gregory
people
is on his way to Claire's right now.
Those people are going, this is just perfection in action already. Unknown perfection in action. Those people, so to say, are going to match exactly what they need. Whether it's a therapist or the radical non-dual teacher, and even getting into a full-on depression, which is actually...
How can you say that someone is getting exactly what they need? I mean, I don't know what that means.
Perfect. It's just simply what is. The directness of what is. There is no someone getting into. So it's just what is. Resonating with non-duality or going to therapy. That's it. No difference at all. It's just how the cookie crumbles.
Yeah, and all I'm doing here is expressing an opinion and saying if someone is unstable and they're reading all this stuff about non-duality, that there's no person or there's no self, and they're getting even more depersonalized, and before they even picked up a non-duality book, well, I would say maybe those people should go to therapy and work.
But
yes, okay, Tony, I agree. Let me put it together for you.
So, let me sum it up.
Let me sum it up.
Sum it up, Sander. You're the great summer up.
Here I go. So there seems to be, let's say there's a certain type of, I would call it a coping mechanism, so it can become a belief system which has an effect, so okay, so there is no me, so there's also no problems. Let's put it like that. This is just
I don't have to wash the dishes.
Yeah, this is the concept, yes, so exactly. So I can do whatever I want because I don't exist, blah blah blah. This is just another belief system. I'm here or I'm not here, and to use that, but to use that as a coping mechanism, and this actually can have some certain effects.
Yes.
All those things, bypassing or coping mechanisms, can have an effect. They can be very soothing, but they work only as long as this belief is held up. And that belief is, this belief can also tremble and fall away. But so going into coping mechanisms, I would just simply say that as there's no one going into non-duality, there's already no one taking on a coping mechanism as a separated someone taking on that coping mechanism. At the same time, I understand what you mean, Tony. I understand. And Claire also, there seems to be, and we talked about it, there seems to be a conceptual understanding, whatever the hell that means, and an experiential understanding. And those, where it's just another belief system to suit the system.
Yeah, sometimes those coping mechanisms
it doesn't matter so much. It doesn't, because it's both what it is at the same time.
In fact, those kinds of dualistic, you could say it's dualistic practice. Some of those coping mechanisms are very good. I mean, the other day I was talking to one of my Indian devotees.
Right.
Anyway, she was a lot of problems, and I was saying to her, well, instead of going into the non-duality route, why don't you take a leaf from the Tibetan Buddhists have these very powerful visualization practices where they kind of imagine themselves. It's all dualistic, of course, but they imagine themselves to be the perfect Buddha. Okay, they cultivate this whole sense of being a perfect Buddha. And it's a totally dualistic practice, not non-dual. But it's very useful, and very well established within Tibetan Buddhism, for instance. And that building up, creating this, making this big structure that makes you have the conviction, that gives you the conviction that you are this perfect Buddha already, that can have a very good effect, which later on will give more
of course.
Yeah.
Of course, anyway. Tony, it's the same like saying you are not your miserable life, you are the awareness of your miserable life. It's the same, it's the same so-called therapy. So when there's a sense of this is my life, there's just a new thing. I'm the watcher of my life. So there's a certain type of dissociation, you know,
the observer, the so-called observer.
Where you become the observer, where there's a zooming out, you know, this is also just another therapy or another method.
And nothing wrong with this, nothing right or wrong with this.
You see, Rosa, you can say observer and observed, but really ultimately observer and observed are not two things.
Exactly. And observation, in a way, observer, observed, and observation. It's just
talk about them as if.
Of course, we can talk about everything. We can also talk about your underwear.
That may be true, because I get it also. When this is so beautiful, when Gio was saying something, you know, people may genuinely have the sense that there is something which is seeing the tree, and instead of, you know, there can be an identification with that so-called something, which, or that presence in which the tree is arising, that to be you, the real you.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah, totally. This is very, very popular.
So
Tony,
this is a very popular thing, but where I say those
I'm not sure what you mean.
There is a background noise running the whole time.
It's not here.
Now it's.
But that so-called awareness, although it's not separated from something else. As a you being
I only noticed, sorry for interrupting, sweetheart. I only noticed like when I was suffering a lot, I simply wanted help, innocently so. So in a way, it's a very normal thing just to feel comfortable. And then I discovered this thing with the conscious observer. So in a way, you were able to zoom out of the shit. And this is in a way very comfortable. But this is a total split, a total control, I would say. And then I saw that there are a lot of teachers like take Muji, Rupert Spira, Eckhart Tolle, all of them are actually in a way, this is therapy, in a way trying to help the individual, the person. And it's all about, it's just like the stamp of consciousness. And yeah.
There's nothing wrong with there's nothing wrong with self-improvement.
Of course not. In therapy, no, it's just what is.
But it's shifting from I am this physical body, you know, when there's a strong sense of I am this.
It's simply unbearable. It's in a way you want to escape yourself. Yeah. It's so unbearable that you simply will do everything, even jump out of the window in order to escape yourself.
So instead of I am my body and I have a life, this is my life, and it's very, you know, when there's much things going on. In therapy, we see this also. This is a common technique which is used. That's also which drugs seems to do. Which drugs seems to do is that it creates a distance between, it gives us a certain type of bird eye view. You know, so you, instead of being the one, the body who's going through life, you are the awareness of life. So it's in a way you get some space where there's an identification with the center. Then there is a new identification which in which the problems are happening. I'm not, you know, it's not my problems. The problems are happening in me. I'm that in which the problems are happening, so I'm not affected by it. This is just a new.
Let me say something out of experience, since I've experienced this. So it was very, very beautiful, a big help. And then like the beautiful example from Zander Linchin with the changing eating habits, like eating the porridge for a couple of years and then this may stop simply. I got allergic to this for no reason, for no reason. I was just like, what is this? This is simply the biggest bullshit ever. And in a way, the whole thing collapsed. Like observation, observe just collapsed. So there was just the directness of what is. It's always. It's never not this. There's just the idea of, oh, okay, I'm suffering because there is a me. So now I'm the observer, just storytelling the whole time, belief, ideas. Today it's this, tomorrow it's this, and maybe tomorrow I'm going to believe in God, and maybe I will read the Bible. I don't know. I don't know. Everything may happen. So that's why I say enjoy the show if you can.
That's the problem with the awareness approach.
Yeah.
If you stick to it for too long a time, you fall into a sort of a subtle duality that you know, you don't perceive it, because as using Rosa's words, there is a sudden collapse, an implosion, where there is no separation into something else, whatever, right? There is nothing prior, there is nothing posterior, there is nothing before, there is nothing somewhere else. It's everything imploded, right? So
everything and nothing, everything and nothing at the same time.
And nothing, yes.
Yeah.
Well, it seems to be, it's the same with thoughts. There seems to be a seer of thoughts. It seems to be, but that's just another thought claiming it to see thoughts. But that so-called seer is not that so-called seer of thoughts is not separated from thoughts. There's no separated seer of thoughts as something completely outside. The so-called seer of thought is only arising when there's a thought, then there's a seer.
It's always too late. Let's say like that. It's always too late. It's always too late. It's just a claim and okay. It's always too late. It's the directness of what is.
I think,
no more, no less. Claire.
Yeah, somebody made a really interesting comment in the last video, which was that to talk about this, we need to create a separation, and to the point of therapy, almost to be helped, there needs to be a separation. I don't know who it was who said there needs to be there's the you, and then there's the therapist, or there's the drug, there's the something else, there's the connection with something else. So it's interesting, but in that you sort of, it's a dance. You separate, you become whole. You separate, you become whole. You can't have the distance without having the closeness again. That's how it's essential. You need it.
Every story talking about, like you put it, Claire, is already total. There is no escaping totality. So no matter what story we're telling, like bubblegum splitting, I don't know how it's called in English, it's totality already. So there is no way to split. It's impossible. It's just what is.
It is.
I would even go further. When this person suggested that talking needs to be done to create, the talking is the duality. The talking,
But it's also not duality, sweetheart.
No,
it's just blah blah sound.
It's the same time.
There is no. That's why I totally.
It's not the duality.
That's why I don't agree. What I also get totally allergic with those consciousnness teachers and coaches, were at the same time saying, the problem is the thought. And I was like, whoa, my gosh, and
that's
this
a new
is
thought.
Yeah, of course, but and all the people go there and love the messages.
There's truth
well, okay,
in
we
that.
can say no thought, no problem.
Because the mind is the obstacle. I mean, as long as you stay in the mind and you go around and around in the mind, trying to work things out, of course,
there is no you in the mind, Tony.
There is simply hearing, Tony.
Mind is dreaming up you.
Well, going around in the mind. Yes, of course.
It's in a way the game. It's in a way the game. It's in a way the dance. Like hearing for the first time the message of non-duality, and of there being a me and no me, of thoughts being a problem. This is just like, that's the dance. Resonating with this, like it's like with music.
Yes, of course I can say
background sound.
It's you, sweetheart.
Who is it?
No.
Okay,
it's
I will.
Tony, I think.
It's Tony
I
again.
think it's Tony.
Tony again.
To see.
Yeah, it's gone.
Yeah, it's Tony.
Yeah, it's Tony.
Oh, Tony.
It's the fan I've got, kind of making a noise.
Tony, you see, this is perfection.
Look, look. Of course, Sander, you can say you are running around in the mind. Of course, you can say that. Of course, you can say you are running around.
You can say everything.
We have to define. You know, you know how I put it.
Just ordinary language. It's just you are running around in the mind. You're going around with thoughts. It doesn't matter if
you're going crazy. You're going mad.
Mind, you know, there's no mind is just a bunch. I would say mind is just a bunch of thoughts. Without thoughts, there's no you.
And no
what is this? What
no
is
mind.
This actually without a thought, without an idea? What is this?
That's the good question.
Well, this is simply like a done deal.
Yeah, exactly.
As long
when
you
no
say
mind,
what
there's
is
nothing.
this? Yeah, totally. Like
nothing, and
what
not
is
even
this?
Nothing.
Gio, to the example in the deep sleep when you're sleeping. What is this in deep sleep? Nothing.
Not even nothing. No,
only my son can come and say, "Oh, mommy, I saw you. You were sleeping."
Yeah.
The next morning, innocent report. But what is this? It's the
it's
whole
the
time
same,
nothing.
It's the same as before. I would say deep sleep. So before this, you know, I would say it like this. Before this started happening, as far as it seems, you know, it's the same as no mind. There was not even nothing, no peace, no darkness, no nothing.
Yeah.
You know, when I say nothing, it's already a misunderstanding, because people see nothing. It's something which is not, which is objectified as something which is not. So it's strange. I wouldn't even,
as if there is a thing which is nothing.
Yeah. Yes. So without mind, it's all mind in a way. Without it, without this innocent mind, but there's no you doing the minding.
Yeah.
Without the mind, there is no you and a world.
Has the sound gone now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, without, there's no you existing outside thoughts painting there to be a you and a world. So there's no you outside mind minding or thoughts painting up a world of division.
This is the function, right? And the Lynchian, as I said, this is simply the function of the body-mind complex, just to keep up the story.
And that deep sleep state is here right now.
Yeah.
It does not disappear.
Yeah.
It is here, present.
Of course.
It is just ineffable. We cannot define it. We cannot determine it, because it's completely empty.
Gio, can we also go so far and to say, like, not only in deep sleep, but also before this body arose?
Also. Yes. Death and life are the same. They are both here.
Exactly.
It's the same.
When you say it like that, they're just ideas being expressed in the moment, right?
But
they're just ideas.
Like there is
no escaping, sweetheart, expressing ideas in the moment.
I have a question.
Yes.
This thing you're talking about, is that what people call enlightenment?
No.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know what people, you know, what enlightenment is or isn't. There seems to be many ideas, I would say.
There is a clear, when I hear enlightenment, I never, in a way, there is no enlightenment. There is no such a thing as enlightenment. It's an idea.
You could put it this way. There is light everywhere, so you could call it enlightenment. There is nothing that is not here already. Everything is under the light. So in this sense, you could say that it is enlightenment. But, you know, no.
The knowledge that you're unlimited.
It's what Sander is saying, that there is no separation. Everything is already here.
I would say, you know, here, there's no difference here.
That was a standard reply. It's peace of mind and the end of suffering. I mean, it's quite simple, really. It's peace of mind and the end of suffering.
I don't know. Because you can pretend that you have peace of mind and you have no suffering and become a Jehovah Witness.
Sweetheart, here, Tony, people who claim that they have peace of mind and that there are no suffering, for me, it's just like the biggest bullshit ever.
That's fine.
It just, yeah, totally. So I'm totally not going with this. So
No,
there is no enlightenment to start with. Just another beautiful story idea. There are also freaks like being in the Tony. It's very loud there. Your background.
Sound. It's again back, Tony. It's back.
It's completely quiet here.
Geo.
It's as quiet as Tony's mind, Rosa.
Geo.
This is exactly like how it plays. Full on.
I would go
noise,
so far
quiet.
that there is no difference between deep sleep and this.
Yeah, no difference.
And that and this. What is this?
There is absolutely no difference between deep sleep and this.
Well, but
there is no actual experience of this. Experience arises only in the naming of it, as there is no experience of deep sleep. At the same time, at the coffee table, there can be an, the so-called experience of being deep sleep can arise only in the telling. While they're in the deep sleep, there was no experience at all. But in the morning table, there's just a painting as if there was a you in deep sleep who was sleeping good. But there was no experience of whatsoever. No one is experiencing deep sleep. It just simply doesn't happen.
Isn't it funny? Isn't it funny?
Well, it's funny. It's funny because there's just in the morning people can say, well,
I think it's funny. I think it's funny waking up and then seeing this joke. It's funny.
Yeah, a sudden light.
It's funny. Good morning and good morning. No escaping the good morning. And then maybe there is no good morning anymore for no reason.
But there seems to be an experience. That's all I can say. There seems to be an experience, but there's no such thing as an actual experience as a you and something else which is completely separated, which is having an experience together, like two things.
Let's put it very, very simple. Tony, you are so fucking loud, sweetheart. I love it.
That's where we're at the moment with non-duality. It's gone to such an extreme that nobody actually believes in enlightenment. It's just really absurd.
It's a mess.
Nobody believes in it. That's a terrible thing.
It's the most terrible thing ever for Tony.
There is no such enlightenment. And be talking about non-duality is just bizarre.
Wait, Tony, let me put it like this.
Let me sum it up.
There is no enlightenment for you or me.
Right.
Now Tony is happy, sweetheart. Good that you did it.
No, it's because it's the ego.
This state you're describing is impersonal. The deep sleep, that's got nothing to do with Geo being asleep. That's the state that is impersonal.
But it already has nothing to do with you anyway. Even the idea that it has to do with you has not to do with you as a separated doer of that the not arising of the sense it had to do with you, or the arising of the sense that it has to do with you. It's already impersonal. Even the sense I am a person has already nothing to do. There's no you as a separated doer bringing about that sense of personality or the lack thereof. So feeling like a person, feeling like a separated person, or the lack of that separated person is already not done or brought about by a you. It's just simply what's arising. The sense of personality, the sense of being a body, the sense of being separate, the sense of not being separate. It has already completely nothing to do with you. Even the sense it has already nothing to do with you as a separated doer. There's no you behind that sense, bringing it about and able to hold that sense. That sense, or the lack of that sense, is just coming and going spontaneously and effortlessly. There's no you able to hold onto any type of sensation or belief, because there is not a separated you apart from belief, able to hold it tight and to never let it go.
May I add something? Always when I hear this expression unpersonal, it's not matching here. It's not ringing the bell.
Fully personal, I know.
No, not because of this. So there are a lot of people on this so-called planet Earth who simply have totally no issue with being a full-on person playing out with ups and downs and tragedy and misery. They never got in touch with a thing called being a me, personal, impersonal, everything, nothing, zero. So they're just living their fucking life or beautiful life whatsoever. And there are people who are really like kind of diving into this issue. Who am I? What is this? Is it me? Is it personal? Is it impersonal? And
Yes. But what's the problem then?
no, it's just an observation. It's just blah
Yeah,
blah
but you
bullshit.
see, Rosa, I think that you are mixing two words, person and personality. People are walking around in the streets as personalities, but a person would be something fixed, an entity inside it that doesn't change.
Yes.
And this is non-existent.
Oh, yeah, no. There are people, like I said, the first example would be there is never a thought about being a person or not. With a lot of, like, when I first said it to my sister, for example, she was like, "What the heck are you talking about?"
I agree.
I
Of course,
totally
I
don't.
agree.
Are you stupid or what? What are you talking
Yeah,
about? So
I get you.
innocently, so Rosa was thinking about, what is this? Is this me? No me? What is this?
Yeah.
It just plays out.
It's
So
inquiry.
and there exactly, and there are a lot of people who never go like this. So
Yeah,
you see the
yeah.
joke? You see the joke in this? And now when we are here under this so-called umbrella of non-duality, people who love to inquire and seek, or call them what you want, for them now there is this thing like, oh shit, as long as there is a sense of a me, the position, the persona, the felt sense, it's not okay because this is causing the suffering.
But
You
no one
see,
is
No, but
saying
wait,
that.
Rosa. The problem is that
there
these
is no
people that
problem.
you, no, I am saying that the thing is that these people that are walking around in the streets, believing that they are a person, they suffer. They do. I
Here's
don't
the
believe
point.
that I
Here's the
don't
point.
believe that they are happy and joyful the whole day long.
Okay,
They suffer,
here
they
is the
kill
point, sweetheart.
themselves, they
Sweetheart.
suffer, they cut their pulses, they have depression, they have all sort of things, and they don't inquire. It's okay.
Beautiful, beautiful that we are touching this. So in a way, as I always say, I can only see the perfection. So I would never go, and in a way, when I meet maybe people, I get in touch with them, I would never say, "Come on, sweetheart, go and inquire, because this is going to change your life." I cannot do
Oh,
this.
of
But
course
there are a
not.
lot of people, and but then you see, this is the game. Those people who are suffering, they may innocently so resonate exactly with someone who is talking about consciousness. You are the observer. You are not the persona. You see, in this place freely, this place so freely. So in a way, what I try to express is actually nothing. It's just blah blah. Sorry.
Well, I agree with Gio. When there is a strong sense of this is me, this body is me, I'm this is me, then it's all about, when it's all about me, let me put it like that. When it's all about me, this is, I would say, this can be the source of suffering. That
Me and
suffering
my
is,
life. Me and my
well,
Yeah,
life.
oh,
yeah.
me and I'm born, this is my life, this is my job, it's mine, this is my body, this is,
Yeah.
I've
Me
been
and
born, I will
me
go
and
that.
yeah.
When there seems to be that everything which is happening is, in impressed with a sense of this is, it's all around me.
Yeah, it's very hard.
It's all around me.
And
It's
I'm the
very
center of
heavy.
life. This
It's
is
very heavy.
this is the source of suffering, I would say. When there's a strong sense that I'm this body, there's a lot of danger, because this is who I am, and there are other people who are besides from me, that's a separate world, and this is danger. That's just a simple, you know, when there's a strong sense of me and others, there's also a strong sense of danger.
Sweetheart, that's why the business, the spiritual business, to mention again, Muji, Rupert Spira, Eckhart Tolle, is booming because the pain is so strong, so to say, that, you know, this, what you just said, I don't have to repeat it, that in a way it's naturally so leading to this, oh, okay, just get rid of myself, just now be the conscious observer. Be conscious.
Yeah, but these people
yes.
get attached to anything. They can get attached to all sorts of
course.
bullshit.
Right.
When it's like this the whole time, anything
beautiful.
may be a way out.
Beautiful,
I mean,
beautiful. Just exactly. There is just an innocent drive to help oneself, so to say.
Yeah.
What is giving me relaxation? And no matter what it is, it can be the biggest bullshit. You're totally right.
It can be drugs, it can be drinking, it can be all
and for me exactly this thing, I call it addiction. In order to help yourself, maybe you get addicted to drugs, whatever, which is making it more bearable. Like
of course. You know, adapting new belief systems,
exactly.
like I'm not here. You
exactly.
know,
and as years go by, this attachment, this drive becomes stronger and stronger.
Yes. You need more and more and more and more.
It will not
some
work.
old people you see just despair. There is an absolute fear of death and nothing else. They disguise it, they pretend that it's okay, but when you look at them, really, there is an immense fear, unrestness, and suffering.
Let me see what we see today in society is also, you know, there's a lot. When there's a sense of I'm this body, this is who I am, that's the truth, that's the absolute truth. And on one level, I can agree with all that, you know. So when this body is getting older, you see many people today are trying to keep a young appearance because they are fading away. It's the whole identity is based on this physical form. And when this physical form naturally is dissolving or getting old or fat or whatever, it's a direct threat to who they are.
Exactly, sweetheart.
Exactly. They are disappearing. You know, because the whole identity is based on the physical form.
It's
so
so
by
crazy.
forcing this up, by keeping this young, you get the illusion that you are staying the same way. But it's just a natural. So when there's an identifying with this physical form, you know, then it's time running out. I'm running out.
Exactly.
It's me who's running out. It's all about me. I'm this body, and it's my pain, it's my life, it's
my life. It's my life.
And there
it's
is
my life.
And there is the other side of this coin, which is escaping into religion, into God, or into awareness.
Or even killing oneself.
I'm not saying that everybody who talks about consciousness and awareness is escaping, but it is a very common sin to find awareness that doesn't die. Oh, and now I'm okay. In part, it can be truth, but there is a danger there. There is a trap, you know, because actually, you know, we don't know what happens when this body dissolves. So we cannot say that there is no death.
Actually, geo-awareness approach is really the only game in town.
Yeah, it's a game.
It's the only
It's a very common game.
It's all,
but
you know, when
it's a mid-step. You have to give the other step, right? You would agree that there is no distinction between awareness and something else. Everything is awareness. There is only awareness.
Yeah. And I call it there, Tony?
Those things. Why would you say that? Of course, you can make a distinction between awareness and an object. That's the whole point of inquiry, to make that distinction at the beginning. See, the whole point is for whoever is doing the inquiry is making the distinction. The whole point is for the inquirer to disappear. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
So,
the meditator has the intention to meditate, but then the meditator disappears. That's
the
the whole.
meditator has the intention to kill himself.
Well, that might happen, I guess. But,
Yes, but now you are describing a teaching, which is a story.
exactly.
It has a beginning, a
But
middle,
everything
and
is
an
a
end.
story. Gio, everything is a story.
Look, I could. Well, is what you were saying? Is that a teaching? Why do you give this label teaching? You're giving your opinion. I'm giving my opinion. Why are you calling it a teaching?
Why not,
We
Tony?
are all giving opinions.
Sweetheart.
We are all giving opinions.
What's wrong with calling it a teaching?
What's wrong with that?
No, but he's saying, oh, but you're now calling it a teaching because he's being critical, you see, a little bit, isn't he? He's being critical.
Look at him. Look at him.
It shouldn't be a teaching. We don't do teachings. No, I mean, I'm just saying.
Nothing wrong with teaching, Tony.
To start with separation. You can't say there's no separation. You have to start with separation. You have to start with duality. You can only get to non-duality from duality. So stop pretending duality doesn't exist.
Sweetheart, come
Yeah,
on.
but duality is already not separated from not. There's not a dimension called non-duality and a dimension called.
That's for the seeker. That's just a belief. That's just a belief to say there is no separation. That's a belief.
No, the belief is that there is separation. The belief is that there is separation. That's the belief.
I'm fine. I'm fine, Tony. I'm fine with you calling. I wouldn't, I wouldn't say that there is a dimension which is non-dual. There is no such thing as a dimension which is duality and non-duality which is dual. There isn't even a thing called non-duality or a thing called duality to begin with. This is both dual and non-duality at the same time. It's personal and it's impersonal at the same time.
There is a separate individual. There is separation. That's the truth for the seeker.
But I know. Of course, if that is, if a person is feeling separate, I am then again saying that sense of separation is already not separate at the same time. Although it may be felt so, it may be heard so, it may be suggested so.
Gio, it's just as incorrect to say there is no separation as there is to say there is separation. Saying there is no separation doesn't make it true just because you're saying it.
No, so but if there is separation, doesn't make it true either, Tony. Tony.
You're saying, well, really, there isn't separation. No, really, there is separation. There is separation. Of course, there's separation because that's the cause of suffering. So therefore, there must be separation to cause suffering.
But wait, Tony, the claim that yes, there is separation. Yes, Gio, there's separation. That itself is already not separated. That's what Gio is pointing out.
Yeah, but that's just a belief.
If you say so.
If you say so.
How do you know that's true? How do you know that's true?
Tony, I love it. I'm totally with you. I'm totally with you, sweetheart. It's just true. Tony, I'm totally with you. It's just another story. It's just saying that there is no separation already. But it's not about, it doesn't matter. It simply doesn't matter, Tony.
Yeah.
You see, that's why I call it a joke. For me, it's very obvious that no matter what I say, do, claim, it's totality already.
Let me put it like this. This is not about if there is
totality already.
Yeah.
Tony.
What a joke.
So let me put it like this. This is not about if there is separation or no separation. I agree. Wait. At the same time, believing that there is separation or the lack of that belief is already just simply this. This is not coming to a conclusion, right? That's why I say there is separation and there's no separation, both simultaneously and not even. Separation is a story, as is non-separation. So there is separation as the idea or the feeling that there is separation. That can be very real, or the lack of that idea. So this is not about one or the other. I would say, yes, there is separation and it's real. There's also no separation that is as much real. But at the same time, there isn't such a thing as separate. Where is separation or no separation when there is no innocent story, when there's no mind? Is there such a thing as separation when there's no mind? Or is there a thing as no separation when there's no mind? I would say there's not separation or non-separation when there's no mind. There's not even nothing.
What about putting the word
separation only exists in the naming of it, as is non-separation, or in the innocent feeling that there is, or the lack of that feeling. It only arises, I would say, like I said, there's no separation, nor there is also no wholeness. There's no wholeness. It's just
let me throw the word unknown in the game. What can be known? Who knows anything?
Well, that's just another, we can play the no. You can say there's nothing to know. That's just another knowing that there's nothing to know.
Or a total knowing of what is.
No, Rosa has said something.
You see, there are different ways of teachings, of pointings. I'm talking now, for instance, you can say that there is only mind, right?
Yeah.
But if everything is mind, where is mind?
There is no mind. Yes.
So exactly. If I can also say there is only consciousness or there is only awareness. But if everything is awareness, where is awareness?
There is no awareness. Yes. Yep. Exactly.
Right?
That's it.
Yeah.
When everything is yellow, there's no yellow. When everything is this, there is no this. So there is a this and there's no this. There is a this only.
That's why in a way not two already, no separation. Oh,
Tony? The whole Zen teachings, the Shan teachings from China speak about mind. There is only mind, But if everything is mind,
was saying there's just Maya. Everything is Maya.
The game.
It's the same. We can also say everything is a dream. So it's the same with everything is reality. So there is no reality.
Rosa is correct. It's not possible to know anything.
Oh, I'm correct.
It's not,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's not possible to know an object. It's not possible to know an object because when you look at an object, whatever it is, it might look different under different conditions. It changes. Therefore,
Tony,
it's not know an object.
Tony, but at the same time, I would love to say, that everything is already known.
That's just another knowing, Tony. So you can say, but knowing itself cannot be known. Or
the only
possibility
to know is yourself as the ultimate subject, as the knower.
Oh,
you cannot
No.
You cannot know an object because the object is appearing and disappearing or changing or being modified. Therefore, you cannot know it because it's not permanent. Right? It's impermanent.
Only you are permanent.
You started
Tony's a permanent
okay,
marker.
But then you finished it very strange.
Tony?
There is only self. Okay, I can agree with that.
Permanent, right? The Atman is permanent.
Tony, I will give you now the nickname, my sweet permanent marker.
I wanted to come to Geo a little bit, when we talked about that. So I would say, what for me is that this will end, But it will not end for someone separated. It never started for someone. Life never started for someone. We can call it that,
good.
But that is not for someone separated. At the same time, if you ask your parents or what, they will say, yeah, but you can. It's just a matter of perspective. But
so don't ask your parents. Don't ask your parents, sweetheart. Never go and ask your parents.
So there is that for you on the level where you exist. That's only on the mind-based level. You know, where there seems to be others, there seems to be that for others. But in the end, there is no life for you. There was not someone separated from life who got this life, or who this started as something separated from life. The whole idea that there was separation, or the lack of that separation, started simultaneously. You cannot divide.
Exactly. Yeah.
Could we say that there is just what's going on?
Oh yes, totally. Which
And not
includes
even.
the saying that there is something going on. So I would say there's nothing going on outside the idea that there is something going on, or the thought that there is something going on. There's only something going on in the naming that there's something going on. When there's no story, there is no, you know, then again, when there's no mind, there is no happening. Mind is the happening. So
Yeah.
is there something
Beautiful.
going on? Yes, there's
Beautiful.
something going on only in the, if there's no mind, there's nothing going on, and not even nothing.
Yeah, and there is nobody left to report about this non-experience, of course.
Oh, reporting may happen.
Yeah, anything may happen.
Yeah.
May seem to happen.
Yeah, but Klaus simply says that there is no one who is reporting. There is just
That's
reporting.
beautiful, Geo, you know, I used to say also, so I would say, as far as it seems, as far as thoughts and conclusion goes, this is what is happening. But that's only as far as thoughts and beliefs are painting this to be happening to begin with. Without that so-called thoughts or beliefs or whatever perception, there's totally nothing happening to begin with. So this is happening and not happening. It's only happening in the naming, in the sense, and then, I mean, movement and different object is only existing in the naming of that. And that claiming of different objects is already not an object itself.
What about the
Yes.
perceptions, feelings,
There are
emotions?
no objects. They are not objects because you have
Exactly.
to be there in order to feel
Yeah.
them and to see them and to perceive them. Right?
I
A
mean,
way of speaking, a way of putting it. There is no perceptions without the perceiver, but the
yes,
perceiver is not there. Right?
yes,
If you know it's an object, if it's possible to know something, if you know something is an object, the only thing you cannot know is
Yeah.
yourself, because you are not the object.
Yeah,
Non-duality 101.
that makes sense.
well, claiming there to be things or no things is already not a thing.
You sound like a
Yeah.
broken phone record, Sander.
Oh, you
Also,
sound like a broken gramophone record, Tony,
We all-
tonight.
we all-
In the very.
I-
You have to listen to the video. You have to listen to the video, sweetheart. You're a total broken record tonight.
I'm totally okay, Tony. I mean, let me say it in your words.
With that, yeah.
Let me put it in your words so you understand it. There's an awareness here of sounding like a broken record, but that so-called awareness is not something which I really am, nor is that so-called awareness something which is separated from that claim being made already. So there's no identification with the broken record to be me. But yes, you can say it like that. From that perspective, so-called perception, there's a repeating of certain phrases. Yes, I'm totally okay.
Oh, yeah.
But
Is
here
that
there
a
is no sense. Huh?
teaching? Is that a teaching?
Claim it what you want. It's not going to change it.
I mean, if I would say no, Tony, if I say yes, it's a teaching. If I would say no, it's not a teaching. It's still a teaching. It's teaching what your teaching is or not. So either way, you know, if I say no, Tony, it's not a teaching, then I explain what the teaching is or not. And when I say no, it's just the same thing. So, you know, it's heard as it heard, claiming this to be a teaching. People say this is a belief or an idea or philosophy. I'm completely fine with it. it doesn't matter to me. It's just simply what it is.
There is no separation.
Yes, I have no issue in changing anything, nor do I have the need to, for it to be heard in a certain way. It's just simply heard. There's no one here inside these ears listening as a separated something from the ear. So there's just a processing of words, a processing of sounds, and this is made into a new story. And there's no one between the hearing and
like
what
a computer.
it's being made into.
Like a computer.
It's just simply the functioning, hearing, and then this making the words into sounds and meanings and giving it values and all that is just simply happening. That's how it seems to function. But there seems to be people who have the belief that they are somewhere in the middle between the hearing and the outcome of that hearing.
Sweetheart, they pretend to be special.
Tony, do you remember Shankara saying that nothing was ever born, nothing ever is abiding, and nothing ever disappears? There is nothing in the universe.
Yes, of course, you are that reality. That's what it says, that you are that unborn reality. Yes. That is you. That is your nature.
Yeah, but in an impersonal sense, Tony, when you hear these people,
I'm not talking about
impersonal.
About you as being. This is what Shankara was talking about. You as the unborn essence, spirit, Atman, so many different words. Of course, that's what Shankara said.
The funny thing is, Tony, when you say, but people who are seekers, they act as if they're separate, and when you say to them, because you always mention people, I address them as separate individuals, and when you say to them, you are the inborn, how you think that is going to be taken when you say to someone who claims to be a person, separate life, and you're saying you are the unborn. What I think is that they are not existing as such, that they personally are not existing.
They think they're separate, and that's fine. Telling them otherwise won't change it. So it's quite clear what I would say to them. Do self-inquiry or meditation and discover that you are not separate. Directly, discover that knowledge directly. Of course, there's nothing else to say. That's why awareness.
Beautiful, Tony. What a beauty. Gio, what are you going to say to them?
To whom?
To the seekers who think that they are separate.
As I said, there are many ways to teach. There are many ways of
pointing. No, I'm asking you, sweetheart. What are you going to say to them?
To whom?
To the seekers.
It depends, because it depends who is asking. For instance, for some people, I like the mind teaching. Everything is mind. Even mind is also mind. So where is mind? There is one way of pointing. Yes. You can have the awareness teachings also. There are different kind of pointings, but these are all teachings. And there is what people call the radical non-duality, which is now, here, in this exact moment. Are we, is there awakeness here, right now, in this moment? Not tomorrow, after tomorrow, right now, here. Is there past? Is there a future? Is there another place? Is there a pot of gold under some rainbow? No. Everything is here. There is. So as a role, I'd like to say, it's an implosion, right? Everything implodes into this here, now, right here.
This is the boom.
Yeah, the boom.
The empty boom.
It's not boom, but it's a boom.
Imploding boom. An empty boom, we can say.
Yeah.
A silent boom.
Yeah.
Of course, Gio, the other thing that Shankara said is that mind alone is the obstacle to liberation.
Yes,
I don't like it.
But then he's talking about the conditioned mind, right? The mind that says, mine, yours,
Yeah,
I
exactly.
am, you are, we are separate. You know.
What is the issue with, I mean, you know, thoughts are never a problem, I would say, until there's a sense of my thoughts.
Yeah, exactly.
When there's just thoughts, what's the issue? It becomes an issue when they're my thoughts or when there are good thoughts and bad thoughts, which are also just a thought, you know, labeling them to be mine, you know.
Right.
When there's a sense of minus in everything, then things start to become complicated. That's just simply how it seems to function. When
Can
there's
we
a strong
say that the majority of the people are in a way functioning like
I was
exclaiming?
going to say the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, you see,
the disgrace of our modern civilization, what's happening all around the world, is because people feel separate, insecure, and they want to feel safe. So they make wars and kill each other.
Because when you're driving in your car on the highway, right, there seems to be no issue with all types of things, you know, other cars, so to say. You know, because there's no sense of me in another car or the tree to be me, you know. It's
Right.
when there's a sense of it has to do something with me. It's my thoughts. Then there becomes a sense of defending them. They are mine. I have to hold them. I have to get rid of them. I have to control them. It becomes a whole, you know, when there's a sense of me in all that, it becomes another ball game. Or else it's just, you know, you don't seem to have an issue with.
That's the game of being schizophrenic.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's schizophrenic.
No, that's
It
another
is,
term.
yeah.
I'm not into it, but in a way, I love to say it because it's in a way, you know, this me on top always, adding me on top on everything. This is,
It's
I
like
mean,
But
everything is
we are schizophrenics. I think that we are schizophrenics because we are different people every moment. I am different with my wife. I am different in my work. I am different with my daughter. I'm different with my granddaughter. You know,
yeah,
different.
Gio, this is in a way, this is really in a way always new and fresh. Like it's this the whole time, and the like. I love to say, here are a lot of roles playing. As a mother, as a worker, as a friend, as it just the whole time, no escaping it. You know.
Yeah, but there's
Yeah,
nothing wrong with it.
yeah.
This
If
is
you are aware, it's beautiful.
there's a
Yeah,
misunderstanding. It's the problem is when, you know, there's nothing wrong with masks or so to say, or certain,
yeah.
you know, certain
Roles.
jackets. It's the problem
Roles.
when it's stuck to your face. It's who you are.
The
Yeah, exactly.
identification. So the
When
point is with the
Yeah,
identification, whatever this means, but this is also perfection already.
exactly.
there's nothing wrong with being in a certain way with your children or your grandchildren than being something different at work. It's when this is
Yeah,
glued to your face, and that's the absolute truth. This is who I am.
yeah,
That this is so to say a beautiful limitation. You're limiting yourself on exactly this thing here, all the ideas, and just this.
And
And
it's
this
the
is,
same with the
yeah, that's
body.
brutal. It's brutal. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
This is
pain in
who
the
I
ass.
am. This
yeah.
It's
is
pain in the ass.
Another word for separation, isn't it?
what?
Tony, come again, please.
Limitation is just another word for separation, because
Yes,
limitation is borders or boundaries. And therefore, if there are boundaries, there must be separation.
Well, exactly.
yeah,
But so there is no boundary in a way if you only look at, you know, there's no hard lines between the sky and the ground, you know, like I said. And when it comes to feelings, also, like I said in the beginning, there's no feeling where this starts and something else ends. There's no lines in between. There's no sensation. There's no hard sensation of ending with the skin. Here's where I stop and the rest of the world begin. It's a fluent. There's no borders to it. But some people seem to feel that a fixed identity, a fixed position, if it's a belief system or you know, if it's a belief or just a real sensation to be the physical body.
I would say, I'm nowhere and everywhere, and I'm right here.
Yeah.
Well, can you be somewhere else?
No.
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 It's just simply not possible.
Yeah.
And when I say where you are, if I ask you to move 1 meter, you're not saying I'm somewhere else.
No.
Well, in a relative sense, I could say that. You know, I've gone from if I
but
fly
that's
from
just in the explanation of but at that moment, where are you? I'm here, you would say. You say I'm not there.
Of course, yeah.
Completely lost. And that's freedom. To be completely lost is absolute freedom. We have no idea where we are, what we are, where we are coming from, where are we going.
Gio.
Totally lost.
Beautiful, Gio. The freedom in a way lies for me here, in a way not having any clue about what I am or who I am. That's the freedom, actually. When there is an idea of how I am, when there is simply the idea of a me, there is directly everything, an idea about everything. This. And in a way, this is the joke. And I'm cracking up the whole time just about it because the ideas they simply play innocently. Boom, 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 labeling the whole time, judging, misunderstanding. And when this is seen, it's just a joke. It's just a joke. It's beautiful.
This is what I like about you and Sander. You point beautifully to this because I had problems with this. I had this notion that when I feel that I am separate, that's horrible, that's bad.
Yeah,
that's not
I know it. I know it.
But now I understand that the whole game is just going on and nobody's guilty for anything.
No escaping, no escape. But wait, as long as there is an idea of guilt, you can also say you have the total guilt, because then you're free. When you're guilty already, who cares? But when the idea of guilt is not anymore playing, there is no issue with guilt. Of course, there is no guilt. There is just what's happening. There is no you to start to show it. Who do you want to blame for this? That's the freedom in a way, you know? And
exactly.
Yeah.
Gio, you have to admit that what you're describing in the beginning, right? That, you said, well, I have a sense of, how you called it, a sense of here, or what, how did you say it?
Yes, that sometimes I feel separate.
Yes, but look, here we go. There was no continuity in that sense, right? It was also a fleeting. It was coming and going, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Of course.
How can that be, real when it's coming and going?
Sweetheart, but you're going now into the permanence of what is.
I know. I sound like Tony a little bit. But
yeah, totally. Boom!
I mean, it's not, there was no you bringing about that sensation, right?
Of course not.
So much in this one, Rosa.
It's part of the program.
Yeah, it's just something which, but there is, that's also the frustration.
It's part of the program of the play, of the theater play. Read the problem. Tonight, Shakespeare.
But I was referring to computer program.
I know, but I was referring to a theater play.
Makes sense, yeah.
It's just how the cookie crumbles, I would say. It's just how the functioning, it's just the functioning.
Yeah. The raw, brutal, direct, innocent functioning of the body-mind complex, like Sander Lynchen expresses this beautifully always.
It's interesting. Yeah, it's really fun. Yeah.
And not even, Gio, come on. We cannot even say that sometimes I'm crying, but nevertheless, it's just crying. It's just innocent crying. It's no more, no less. There is no issue with crying. There's just crying.
Anything.
So saying it's fun, but nevertheless, I always say enjoy the show if you can, because there is in a way no way to enjoy this.
Yeah.
You see?
Mm-hmm.
No escape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No way. Yeah. You cannot escape. You cannot escape non-separation.
Exactly.
No way.
Tony,
You can try.
Tony
As
is
hard
looking
as
so
you try.
sweet. Look at Tony. He is making funny faces. What's up, Tony?
He's
Do
trying to be
inquiry.
separate.
He would say, do inquiry. There is a way.
Tony is reminding me a friend I have here, Claudio. He's making the same face.
Yeah, Tony is sweet.
And so Tony would say, well, do inquiry and find out yourself.
And now I'm an admin as well, so look out.
Tony, you know, Sonderlinchen, here in Germany, there is a saying, wenn der Tag lang ist, kann viel erzählt werden. So as long as the day is running, Tony can say a lot of things.
Yeah.
But what is Tony saying in deep sleep? Nothing.
Very Teutonic.
Huh? I don't know
That's
that one.
Let me ask.
Germanic then, no. Typical German kind of saying.
Let me go to Wendy. Wendy, this
So
is it.
To Rosa, what you were saying about unknowing, I would say that you can say what you are not, but you cannot say what you are.
Sweetheart, I can say everything. Meaningless already.
But
Yeah,
I get what Tony is saying, yes.
I get, yes.
You cannot point, you cannot see your eyes. I mean, how
Exactly.
can you know?
Of course, because for that to be, you know, there needs to be something which you really are, which is separate. You cannot even, in a way, you cannot even say what you are not.
Not even.
Here it's much more simple, but in a way I can say everything, you know. For me, it's really like
Tony, I mean, you know, you understand what I say. You cannot. I understand how you mean it, but you cannot actually say which you are not, in an absolute way.
No,
yes, because you cannot define an object.
I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, I'm not my hand, I'm not this. You know, you could say you're not all of that.
Yeah.
Say
But
what
you
you
can
are.
also say you are everything and nothing at the same time.
Object, right? So you can't say what you are because you're not an object.
Sweethearts, I have to boom into bed. Good night. Thank you very much.
Bye bye, Rosa. Good night.
Love you all.
Rosa.
Bye bye.
Sleep
Good
well.
night, Rosa.
Yeah, good night, Rosa. Nice to hear from you.
Sweetheart.
I'm trying to put that in a nice way.
Also, don't take you on it. It's just no. So can we say? I mean, of course, you know, Rosa's right. Anything can be said or thought. That's not, you know, that's not. Anything may be claimed or not be claimed. You know. So a lot of people will disagree with what you are saying, and people may agree what you are saying. So you can say which you are not, but in an absolute way, you cannot say it, because for that to be actually, you know, to be actually the truth, there needs to be something separated. There needs to be a possibility to step out of this. You know, that itself can already not be discriminated. Because we're talking about what is real and what is...
I could talk about the table, the chair, the cup, the tree, all of those things. Why can't I?
Yeah,
Why
yeah,
can't
I'm saying
but
that.
that's a provisional. That's a provisional teaching. It's
but that
midway.
itself, Tony. I can also talk about the cup. You know, of course we can talk about the cup and the table. But that itself can already not, you can not divide yourself or separate yourself from talking about the cup and the table.
Right.
Yeah, but from a purely transactional point of view, that's how you that's how you operate in the world, right? You seem to have relationships with people, and you
but the neti approach is a teaching. That's why I say it is a teaching. It's not some final goal, not the ending. You go neti, but in the end, everything is you. Where is
Yes.
then?
In the end, you cannot do neti on the neti.
On
You
the
understand what I mean? So what Nisargadatta was also saying, in a way, also the I am needs to go. So
Yes.
neti, you know what? It's the same what Ramana Maharishi was saying. You know, you use a thorn to remove the thorn, and then you discard them. You use the mind,
Yeah.
and then it's the same with neti. It only goes as far.
No, neti is a very basic kind of teaching that is not very profound, really.
The you know, in the end, it's a tool. It's a tool. It's a method. But as long as it's a method, in the end, all methods needs to go, so to say.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right, Tony?
Yes, there can come a time when you can call the end of all practices. Yeah. And that's when the seeking has stopped. So when there's no more seeking, there's no more practice.
When the apple falls from the tree, so to say, it will never jump up and hang itself on the tree again.
And when is that time? When is that time?
It doesn't matter so much, because this claims
No, there is no other time, Sander.
Yeah.
When I ask, when is that time? There is no other time.
There is no other time. Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, this is not a teaching anymore, right?
Whether it's a teaching or not, who cares, really?
Well,
No, it's okay. But as long as there is a teaching, there is a path. There is a path. So in the future, you will get there. Suddenly, there is no teaching.
I would say there is a path, but it's a pathless path, if you want to put it like that.
Yeah, but it's the same what Gio is saying, only in different words.
Yeah.
This is the funny thing, because at a certain point, yeah, what is there to say? Sorry.
At a certain point, there is only this.
Yeah.
Which means no other time, no other place.
Yeah,
These
you know,
only...
I think when you say this, it's a very easy and neutral and proper word, because it's avoid the calling it as consciousness, which may arise a lot of thoughts about beliefs, religion, and stuff like that. Awareness, it's another word that may lead to the belief that I am awareness.
Oh, yeah.
And so when you say this, how to deny it, it's just another word. I know it for sure. I mean, it's could it be something else? But it's the most neutral way for the moment. I cannot find any other better word to describe what's going on with this. And of course, there is not a this. If you start searching for a this,
you will never
as something concrete, you're not going to find it, of course.
No, exactly, because it's not an object. Tell me to point to this. Where you go? What do you mean? Because it's not an object. Have you ever seen hands here? You know, have you ever seen borders? It's a borderless isness. I mean, so when you say, but it sounds like an object when you say there's just this. It sounds like
yeah.
But you know, that's not. It's only a pointer. People seem to take this like a thing. They make it. That's how the mind seems to work. It likes to objectify.
Yeah.
So suddenly,
as long
because
as
of language, this borderless, fleetingless, edgeless beingness or whatever, the moment you say there's just this, it's like a picture's being taken. So suddenly it become an object. But you cannot put it any other way.
Yeah. Subject objectless.
But I agree, you know, it's because when there's only awareness, it seems to be tainted like there's only God, you know, it's some words just simply seem to be loaded with it. It brings about many ideas and concepts which only disturbed. This is just quite neutral. I agree with it.
I would say it's
Yes.
all words.
Make it not
All
neutral.
words,
So
Yeah,
make
all words.
idea. Of course, awareness can be an idea. So what you have to do is to make it a reality, not something that's just a belief or a concept. You have to know it directly, and then it's not a belief.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
yes, Tony, I agree. But when you know this directly, so to say, there is no knower and something else. The knower, you know, the one being aware of awareness is not two anymore. So we cannot talk about, you know, that's what I say. You have to know this directly. When there is that so-called knowing, there is no knowing of something else. There's just this. There's no separation.
If you're established as awareness, then there cannot be any separation.
No.
But you can experience awareness temporarily and then be captured again by thoughts, and then you forget the awareness. So that's not
But you said
permanent.
yourself that there is no experience, Tony. And now you're claiming that it can be an experience.
No, of course there's experience. Of course. How could I deny experience? I'm having experience right now. I mean, there's an experience of this Zoom meeting right now, so I can't
really?
deny that. Yeah.
Well, here there's no experience of the Zoom meeting.
Person having an experience of a Zoom meeting, there is simply just the experience of a Zoom meeting.
Here, you know, if you said, was there any experience today? I cannot honestly say there was an experience.
Okay. All right.
Experience, in the term I mean it, only arises in the naming of it. During the so-called day, that you know, or the moment. So when there's just walking, there's not an experience of walking. There's only an experience of the walking in the naming of it. During there's no division, I would say. There's no additional loop saying I'm walking, I'm experiencing this. There's just.
I've never met anyone in my life who does that.
But that's what I'm trying to paint, Tony. So that in that way we agree.
I don't have to name an experience to have an experience. I don't have to name it to experience
well,
it.
but then you can say there is only experiencing, nothing else.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, I would say that. Yes, but they're experiencing. It's happening. How could it be denied?
Well, it's not about how it can be denied or acknowledged. This is again just another misconception, I think, because it gives the idea that, you know, this is not about.
It's being denied or not. You don't have to say that. You're just having the experience. Why would you want to then say, do I need to deny or accept this experience? There's just the experience. You don't have to interrogate yourself about experiencing, do you? You don't have to question yourself about experiencing something. You can
if you talk about experiencing something, you are admitting or conceding that there is someone experiencing it,
exactly,
right?
Gio. Exactly, and that is not the case.
No, I don't
and
think
it's
you
not
are.
a problem either.
But that's not the case exactly, Gio. I agree with you. So that's why I say there's no actual experience. Because for me, an experience is
a little bit here, Sander. I think you're playing with the words a little bit. playing with the word experience a little bit.
Of course, you know, how can, of course it's a playing with words, because they're trying to express something which is, yeah, I don't know how to say it any otherwise. Let me put it like this.
I mean, I would say there is of duality.
I wouldn't call it an experience or a non-experience. Let me put it like that.
But I didn't say experience, right? I said there is only experiencing, right?
Yes.
I know it's just a word. It doesn't make it more true than anything else, but not that there is only experience. There is only experiencing. And I'm not even sure that if that makes sense.
When you report that experience, I'll say, what happened? You'll say, oh, I had this experience.
Exactly.
Report it as a memory, as it is. So then you'll identify as this I, but it doesn't matter, you know, because you can still be even though you say I.
Just the song.
You can.
Sorry, Wendy.
Just the song of words. Sin, or not even sin, but it's just everything. And, you know, I think it's the experiencing, the experiencer, or the lack thereof. It's whatever. It's whatever you can imagine. And not even. That's all.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter whether you talk about experiencing or I'm experiencing or whatever. If there really is no separation, it doesn't matter what words you use. It makes no difference whatsoever.
Exactly.
Guys, we're going to have to go in a minute because
we go also.
but I'm hosting the meeting, so I can't. If we do that, it's going to kick everyone out. So I'm sorry.
Yeah, Claire. Anything coming up there more than I have to go and bye. I terminate the meeting, or
no.
No, but thank you, Claire, for providing this link. Very sweet of you. So we can keep this up, this talking, and of course, you know it. You know, is there a need to talk about it? This is not, you know, does this need to be talked about? No, I would say no. You know, it doesn't. Whatever is happening doesn't need words for it to be already what it is. You know, or explaining to be whatever it is. This is not so. Is it necessary? I would say no, it's not necessary. It's not necessary to say that there is separation or there's no separation. It's all not necessary, you know, because it's already what it is. At the same time, there seems to be an enjoyment to talk. There seems to be a coming together, you know, which that's it. There's nothing more to it.
That's beautiful.
Look, Sander, that's all very interesting, but I've got to go and do some admin duties now. Okay, so you know.
Well, I would say have a ball, Tony. Go ahead and kick people out or let people in or whatever what is going to be happening. I bet it will be a lot of fun. Thank you for joining, everyone. Claire, Sylvan, sorry I didn't hear you today. I was waiting.
There is nothing to say or not to say. That's fine.
Beautiful. That's
Lovely
it.
to see you all.
Lovely to see. Yes.
Bye,
thank you very much.
Bye. Good night.
Wendy, sweetheart, Klaus, nice to see you. Nice you're back. I enjoy it.
Yeah, thank you. My pleasure.
Tony, I would say beautiful everybody. Have a beautiful night. Take care.